Hello everyone and welcome to another Sunbros video. Today we're going to be talking about Wild Rift patch 2.2c. We're going to give you guys a solid breakdown. And joining me today for that breakdown is Kiro-san. Kiro, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Alright, enlightening. Okay, so patch came out today. Update is already in. Everything is already live. So let's take a look and see what we got. We'll skip the boring stuff. What? New champion. It is none other than Renekton, the Butcher of the Sands. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you one quick detail. Renekton is the brother of Nasus. Alright, new skins coming out as well. We'll be making a future video, by the way, discussing Renekton and what he brings to the table. But new skins, we have Scorched Earth Renekton, Blood Moon Diana, Blood Moon Jin, Blood Moon Kennen, Blood Moon Twisted Fate, and Blood Moon Yasuo. As well as Infernal Nasus and Mecha Malphite, which you best believe your boy's going to be buying as soon as possible. Alright, then we have some new accessories. Any thoughts on the skins, Kiro?
No, Mecha Malphite's probably his best skin, so it's nice that they're getting it in the game.
It's going to be so good. Okay, new accessories. We have a bunch of rainbow stuff and a new recall, the Blood Moon recall. Super cool. So excited. Next. New event. The Pride event will bring in May 21st. So the Pride event coming up. Nemesis Duel. New Nemesis Duel is going to be between Nasus and Renekton. The brothers. You got the dog and the alligator or crocodile. Whatever one it is. Anyways, same thing as last time. Same basic concept. They didn't even have it working for the last one. Alright. Now we're on to champion changes. Starting with Braum. Braum's too good, so they're changing his passive. His passive, if you guys remember, he's concussive blows. When he hits people multiple times, it stuns them. He can start it up with it's any of his abilities. He hits with any of his abilities or an auto attack. It starts concussive blows, and then any other champion can join in with auto attacks or abilities. And the stun duration was 1.25 seconds, 1.5, 1.75, and it's going to 1, 1.25, 1.5. So it's a quarter second reduction in the stun that is going to be. I think Braum was probably one of the more aggressive / oppressive, probably one of the best tank supports in the game, if not the best. So this is probably a worthy nerf. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. And that stun is really long, especially early game. You're pretty much dead if he lands it on you. So.
Right. So I think it's worthy. I do love Braum, and I hate to see him getting nerfed, but I think it's probably a good nerf. Next, we have Diana. Diana's getting a nerf as well. Diana's attack speed on her passive is pretty crazy, and as it says here, it scales excessively as she snowballs. So the attack speed used to go from 30 to 120%, and based on level, now it goes from 30 to 100%. While I think that Diana probably needed a nerf overall, I don't think this nerf is enough to make her not good anymore. I think this is probably appropriate. It's a small nerf that will definitely affect her, especially late game, but it's not enough to break her so she's not usable. She'll still be a quality hero to play. Okay, next we're moving on to.
It's kind of like the Draven change where they just made him scale a little bit less. So makes sense.
Yep, Draven's still strong. It's kind of one of those things where they're not doing any major sweeping large changes for the most part. Next we have Evelynn. Evelynn is too strong. Most of us agree with that. They're reducing her damage 5 points at each level for her first ability. Hate Spike. Thoughts?
No, definitely necessary. She was still really strong, especially early game poke, and that really cuts it down there.
All right, next we're moving on to Fizz. Fizz, they're saying, is struggling early game. So they're adding base mana regen from 15 to 18. So really excited about that. I like Fizz. I mean, it's a very small nerf, but that's one of the good things about Riot. They identify small problems and they work hard to fix them.
Yeah, it's just going to help him with his poke because he gets really zoned out by Ari and Zig still. So this helps him sustain a little bit better.
He's already dealing with the fact that he's melee when most mids are ranged. He doesn't also need to deal with massive mana issues as well in that situation. It really affects his early game. So and with Fizz, if you don't get fed early and quick, he's not super useful. So all right, then we have Jax. So they feel like Jax isn't quite strong enough, especially late game. So they're upping his mana per level from 33 to 57, which is a really, really huge increase, by the way. That's a lot. And then his mana at level 15 goes from 852 to 1188. So that's a pretty solid increase in mana overall. I don't think it's going to like make him crazy, but I think it'll help him late game. I don't think it's a buff that's going to break him or anything. Next we have Kaisa. Kaisa is a little bit overpowered right now, so they're changing her first ability, Pantheon Rain. The bonus damage to minions below 35% HP is reduced from 200% to 150%. And her ultimate, Killer Instinct, the cooldown has been upped by 20 seconds at level 1, 10 seconds at level 2, and it's still an even 60 seconds at level 3.
Yeah, she's getting the biggest nerf. Like, Jack's got the biggest buff, but Kaisa's getting the biggest nerf on this patch, so really gonna lower her kill potential early on.
I don't think anyone's really getting that big of a buff. Even Jax's is pretty minimal, but that is a pretty substantial. I mean, it's not crazy because the damage is only against minions below 35% health. It's gonna make it a little bit harder to farm with her, but I don't think it's gonna break her or anything like that. Next we have Lee Sin. So the passive, he gets attack speed from his passive. They're reducing that attack speed from 50% to 40%. I think Lee Sin is probably one of the top tier junglers in the game right now. So any nerf they can do to him is much appreciated and welcome.
Yeah, especially in the hands of somebody that's got a lot of skill with them, like Smurfs. They just play Lee Sin and auto win basically.
Yeah, he's pretty strong, and anyone who knows how to play him well, he's basically unstoppable. So, all right, next we're moving on to Lulu. Let's say Lulu is still, they did nerf her before, remember? So now they're actually rebuffing some of that. They're upping her mana and they're upping her movement speed slightly. Nothing crazy again, just a small bump up. Next, we're moving on to Lux. So they're saying that Lux is too strong as a support at the moment. So they're reducing the amount of shield that she gets from her second ability and on the return side, and then the AP ratio on the return side for her shield is going down from 0.4 or 40% of your AP to 30% of your AP. So it's a pretty substantial nerf to her shield overall, which I think is actually warranted. Her shield has been pretty ridiculous thus far, so I think this is actually going to be a solid move.
Yeah, that's so far that's 2 nerfs to supports and then 1 buff with Lulu. So they're really working on mixing up the supports here.
Yeah, they're really working on getting a really solid balance there, I think, which is really nice. Okay, next we're moving on to Pantheon. Now, at first I said Pantheon is just not strong enough. He's not good enough yet, and people were like, Pantheon's great. I'm like, no, he's not quite where he needs to be. Then they buffed him, and then I said, you know what, he's better, but he's still not where he needs to be. And it turns out I was right again because they actually buffed Pantheon another time. So his armor per level went up from 4.3 to 4.7. His armor on level 15 went from 101 to 106. Obviously, it's not a crazy amount, but it is something. And then the second ability, Shield Vault, they upped the damage 5 points at level 1, 30 points at level 2. Was that 55 points at level 3, and 80 points at level 4. That is actually a really large increase in damage from the second ability, Shield Vault. So, I think Pantheon got the biggest buffs overall. And one of the things I was saying about Pantheon too was that he didn't. I said his damage isn't quite enough, and he's just not quite tanky enough to be a big difference maker. And he gets a buff to both his damage and his tankiness. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. Now seeing this, he definitely has the biggest buff in this patch. But that's his dive potential. That really ups his dive potential and that kill potential, especially late game. That's a big difference.
I'm excited about that. I'm gonna have to give him another shot in the jungle now that those changes are going to be going into effect. All right, next we have. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that it doesn't give him much of a buff early game, but I don't know where his trouble was in the jungle, if it was early or late game, but.
It just felt like I didn't have enough damage to like really kill often enough in ganks to make a difference. And when team fights started happening, I didn't feel like he was tanky enough to do what he had to do in a team fight situation. Similar to some of the issues I've been having with trying Galio in the jungle. So I don't feel like I can adjust his build, though. I'm going to adjust both their builds and see what I can do with them. But all right, the last person with the update is Twisted Fate. His second ability is to pick a card. The red card is going to have a bigger area of effect. It's going from 2 to 2.75. And the slow is going from 30. It's actually just going up 5% at all 4 levels. So an interesting buff to Twisted Fate's red card on the second ability pick a card. All right, so that is all of our champion changes for now. Moving on to Aram changes. All right, so with Aram's last week coming up, we're taking one last swing at some outliers before we take the mode back in the lab. We're not going to go crazy with that, but these are some of the Aram changes. They're changing the passive gold. We'll let you guys read that on your. You can just pause it there and read it. It's kind of a small bit of information. But the last but not least is the free-to-play champion rotation. You guys can see that on the screen. May 13th to 19th, Akali, Braum, Darius, Diana, Evelynn, Jax, Misfortune, Olaf, Sona, and Tristana. Actually, I've been wanting to try Tristana, so I'm kind of excited about that. And then May 20th to May 26th is Ari, Corki, Kaisa, Kha'Zix, Leona, Renekton, Rengar, Soraka, and Tryndamere, Twisted Fate. Okay, I'd like to just point out how great it is that 2 weeks after releasing Renekton, they're going to put him in the free-to-play rotation. How awesome is that? Because in a game like AOV or Mobile Legends, for example, they would come out with a new hero, and those new heroes wouldn't be in free-to-play rotations for months. So the fact that they're letting people play Renekton, Rengar, and even Kha'Zix so soon after being released is just awesome, and I love it. I'm also excited for playing some Corki. I haven't actually got to play him yet, so this is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, same here. As solo, I play top a lot, so I'm definitely excited to play Renekton. I want to check out the Pantheon buffs and see how that helps him. Twisted Fate mid, like there's a lot of people to tweak out and check out.
Yep, guys. So this is probably the smallest update, I think, of all the 2.2 updates they did. The 2.2a, 2.2b, this is 2.2c. This is the smallest one and the last one of this rotation, which is what they said at the top. So we'll be getting, I guess, 2.3 next. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the next rotations and of the patch updates, and then enjoy all the changes, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below of all the changes. Renekton, the new hero coming out, and all that kind of stuff. Guys, thanks for watching, and as always, until next time.